I love cookies. I love cookies. I love cookies. I love cookies.
Welcome to Cookies, the world's most influential basketball podcast. I am Ben Dietrich. Jordan Rodelli is on vacation, but Andrew Kuo does not take days off, not even Black Friday. Are you going to shop until you drop, Andrew Kuo?
Oh, sorry, I'm taking off my VR set. I'm just playing my PlayStation 10, which I got today. I got my drones buzzing around my head. I am lamping with my purchases, man. How you feeling?
Young big tech.
Yo, I love gadgets. What can I say? Doohickeys are my shit.
How many PlayStation 5s do you have right now running?
Running? I have 3. Maybe 4, which sounds funny because I'm looking at 2 laptops running and an iPad. So, I mean, like, who am I to judge, Ben? It's a judgment-free entertainment extravaganza over here.
I'm thinking about starting a new career as a PlayStation 5 hoarder/reseller. I think there's a big window of opportunity there.
I mean, I was watching some buy-sell trade YouTube vid where someone was trying to sell these vacuum form sneakers, and the buyer was like, I don't know what these are. I'll give you $1,000 for them because I've never seen it. And the guy was like, well, would you do $1,200? And the buyer's friend was like, stop. They're giving them away down the street. Everyone's got them. Don't buy them. He's like, well, thank you. I'll give you nothing for them. I'm like, huh.
So nothing it is. Deal.
Yeah. And the guy was like, I tried. He was like, no, respect. Yeah, I would try too. But I'm conflicted. I am not conflicted with Black Friday. I don't buy many things in general, but I wish I was more into things to buy. But in New York City, it's hard to collect things, especially when you have like cats and moving apartments all the time. But there's a lot of shaming going on.
Is there?
On my Twitter feed, a lot of people are anti-Black Friday. It's the capitalism, the rampant capitalism.
Well, I mean, yeah. Like, it's not a holiday. It's nothing.
Well, it's like traditionally, it is a day to get sales for your Christmas, whatever you need for Christmas, right?
Sure. And it's clearly moved more digital, especially to this year than it has in the past. But right, it's famed for its grotesque like showings of capitalism. People shoving their way into malls and fighting each other for flat screen TVs that are 25% off.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that's what it's culturally known as gruesome capitalism. And I understand why people would be opposed to it, considering the circumstances of our country.
Yeah.
To say, get out there and spend. Also, right now, it's not the worst thing to happen to America, is have people spend money on things.
That's what I was saying.
You know, but if you're buying it at Walmart, like, fuck off.
Yeah, I mean, it gets tricky, right? Because a week ago, the same people would probably say, support your local businesses. And it's like, except Walmart or except Kmart. I'm like, well, those people in there are your neighbors. You know, we've had this discussion before. Like,
no, yeah, I'm going to opt out on that one, saying that supporting Walmart helps your neighbors. Like, I do not agree with that
well,
at
like
all. Like, I vehemently draw a line in the sand on that one. That, like, shopping at Walmart's good for your community. No, it's not.
Well, like, there was news today that Topshop is looking like it's over, and that whole company, I forgot, they own another brand in that Topshop tier, and it's shutting down. I'm like, oh, whatever. It's just Topshop. And they're like, there's 1,500 jobs at stake. I'm like, oh, that's a big deal. What are they going to do? You know, are they just going to let people go? Probably. And it's just like, I don't know how to do the pandemic right, but supporting our local business sounds smart, and also not spending extravagant monies, which I don't think anyone is anyway. Like, we're past the age of Cabbage Patch Kids, right?
I mean, personally, I go out of my way to not spend money on Amazon.
Sure.
You know, and I do believe in supporting local businesses when you can, especially now, and in New York City in particular, because that's where I live.
Yeah.
I could make coffee at home every day, but half the time I go out and just order coffee from the coffee shop across the street, just to be like, just a little something, get a croissant with that. Why not? And why not?
Yeah.
I deserve it. You deserve my money. It all works. Yeah. So I'm with you. Like, there's no reason to shame the act of spending if you are spending that money in a responsible way. But the idea of jostling with your fellow suburbanites and to battle your way into a massive box chain in order to save some money on a present that probably someone doesn't need. I'm with the shaming. That's okay.
Yeah, I mean,
A light scold.
undercover cop. I went to get some takeout yesterday in Chinatown, and we'll get to our Thanksgiving, epic Thanksgivings in a second. But I bought a couple things, and then the server looked at me and she was like, "Do you want anything else? Like, soup dumplings are nice." And I'm like, "I've had your soup dumplings. They're not great. Yes, give me like 2 orders." Like I feel you. The look said it all. And I was like, "For sure, yeah, I'll take 2." And it's tough out there, and I'm sure I went out and walked around and window shopped a bit this morning, and it's empty. Whether everyone went home from like downtown New York. It's a ghost town up in here.
Second wave, baby.
Yeah, and all the shops that are usually like kind of doing stuff, just empty, man. Even like the Essex Market, all the surrounding dime square joints.
This is not unfamiliar. Like, it may be surprising this year because the scrutiny of travel plans, but this is how it always is around Thanksgiving and Christmas in New York, especially in those neighborhoods you're talking about, where so many people who live there are transplants. And it's been quiet in New York anyway.
Yeah.
Like, people are already gone, and now there's more people gone. So I wouldn't hold it as like that emblematic of anything other than, it's empty as shit.
There's a new used bookstore that opened up down here, and I was psyched. I saw it on my feed, and I was like, I'm gonna go down there and check it out. And it was just like a used bookstore, not unlike the Strand. How that feels, one of my favorite places. I know that's controversial now too, but growing up, I loved that quite a bit. That place, and it's a used bookstore down in Dime Square, and it's awesome. And I bought a bunch of like books because it was a cool shop, and I'm like,
wait. Are you planning on reading them?
They're picture books. I mean, let's not get it twisted. It was.
I thought it was about to be a Thanksgiving scandal.
I bought these books for my friends' kids. There's like a Charles and Ray Eames book about shapes, shit like that.
Yeah.
Which there's words in them though, and they're on paper, which is weird. They're printed on paper and bound with string.
I'm going to take your word for it that you're not reading them.
They're trophies to me at this point. Sort of like every time I look at Infinite Jest, I'm like, Chef's Kiss. Never been read.
A musty paperweight.
Yeah, but been looked at quite a bit. But I'm just like, what is this place doing opening up this kind of bookstore? It's just like, we have to support this bookstore because in theory we love this thing. But damn, I'm like, okay, at least it's not like a... there's a pencil shop down here that's kind of famous that just sells pencils near Scar's Pizza, #1 Slice. And it's astonishing how much business they get, but they do a really good job. It's like cute and fun and lively in there. I don't know what we're doing with stuff, man.
So you're angry that this place is successful, the pencil store?
No,
You are furious.
Right. Oh, it's not successful yet because there's no one in there. But I'm just like, I think we talked about this like the first month of coronavirus or the quarantine. It's like, you should probably tip almost 50 to 100% because everyone's in need. And I'm like, oh shit, we're not working either. I'm like, fuck. I guess like the help never came, and now I'm just like, well, yeah, I'm gonna have to skip some stuff because it should cost double now,
I just think I mean, we can look at Los Angeles closing down outdoor dining. You're like, yo, you are not doing anyone any favors at all. And this ties into a lot of the things we've talked about, the villainization of street beers, the 10 p.m. curfew in New York, getting angry at people for traveling during Thanksgiving. It's like politicians will blame everyone except for their own hand. Mm-hmm. You're the one who won't close businesses and pay people to stay home. You're the ones who won't stop indoor dining. You're the ones
who created a rift about mask wearing.
Like, this is all on you.
I agree.
You know, and to say, Johnny, you wanted to see your mom for Thanksgiving? You bastard.
Yeah.
Like, true. I didn't go home for Thanksgiving because I didn't want to take that risk. I didn't want that mental pressure to be walking around my house thinking that I could be killing my folks. But also, that's not the bad guy. People who went home for small group gatherings, that's not the bad guy.
I know. I've turned into kind of sticking and really believing the take that, like, oh, us hanging out in restaurants and visiting our parents, I mean, we talked about this last episode, like, this, it's fine. These are all human things that we kind of need. So to tie into the Black Friday take, I'm like, since I think valuing things we want should be a thing, right? Like, if a pregnant woman wants sushi, someone might say, you can't have sushi. That's bad for your kid. And I'm like, but her needs are valuable. So how do we weigh them against the risk? That's the question, you know? I'm like, have a piece of sushi. It's fine. You'll probably be fine. But with blaming people for doing very human things, like going home and seeing their parents, I'm like, nah, fuck it. The people who made the real errors are the boomers who are blaming everybody.
Exactly.
Man.
Exactly. And, you know, this falls under the same category as blaming college kids who are in dorms. You're not supposed to be partying. Well, then why are you at college? Then, because you want the room and board. You want their tuition. Like, you can't blame a bunch of 19-year-olds in a dorm for hanging out and giving each other coronavirus.
No.
Like, you can't blame them. Yeah. It's the school. Shut down the fucking college. They just want their money. But again, it's the same thing. It's always blaming and punching down at people who, like, dare to live like normal human beings, even if it's not what's actually causing these issues.
Listen, Patrick Ewing didn't want it enough. Michael Jordan just wanted it more. And the reason why Patrick Ewing doesn't have a championship, it's because Michael Jordan has more heart. No, bullshit. Patrick Ewing never had a team, man. John Starks was his best player. Like, get out of here, man. It's all management's fault.
We're going to make decisions that imperil all of society, that put everyone on this precarious verge of economic collapse. But the problem is those people who hung out on St. Mark's and had a beer.
Raves? Did I hear about a rave? There's a rave happening?
Excuse me? in a pandemic?
There was a stripper in a tea shop? What is happening? Shut it down. You guys cannot behave.
Oh, this is why we have a pandemic. You 7 people in a topless bar in Chinatown. Yeah, you did it. You gave us all corona.
I had a slight moment of weakness last night, you know, like dishes were done. I cleaned everything up. It was a quiet night at home, and it was like 1 a.m. And I was like, I bet you I can find a really fun party somewhere right now.
Could I rave?
Yeah, it's like, I got my platform shoes on anyway. These pants are made out of parachutes, so I might as well find other people to rave with.
There was that New York Magazine article about partying during a pandemic. A few of the people who went on record were writers, which was kind of a dicey idea. But Kat Marnell mentioned in that, I believe,
Friend of the pod.
Yeah, going to a party during the pandemic. Mm-hmm. There was a lot of controversy about this article, but it also falls under the same thing that we're talking about. Like, this is not the reason that COVID is a national disaster. It's not the people who are partying and raving under an underpass. It's not them.
Yeah. I mean,
free the fucking ravers.
I know. It's like, well, how in 2020, what happened? It's like, well, there were ravers. There was Thanksgiving, which is like not this, there will be a little spike after this, but I hope we talk about like the fact that we still don't have good tests. We don't have a stimulus package that will incentivize us to like play it cool.
There are places where it's really hard to get a test.
Like
You have to
New York
wait
City.
hours on end. I mean, New York even is the best of them, and it still takes forever.
Yeah, a few
New York
hours
is-
or CityMD.
And New York is testing like 100,000 people a day, and that was specifically because people wanted to travel for Thanksgiving. But New York has like at least an infrastructure for testing. There are other places that's like, oh yeah, you got to wait till a week from now.
Yeah.
That defeats the whole purpose here.
And like old Beatles fan politicians are like, well, do tests even work? I'm like, stop that. Stop doing that. Yes. Anything can happen after you leave the test. It could be a false negative, false positive. Please get tested. It's like, well, if you think about it, testing is the opposite of testing. I'm like, just listen to your Beatles records, man. We're done with you. What?
Yes, corner threes. We know. We know. Were you on social media looking for clues to see who went home?
Are those Crocs that aren't camouflaged in the corner? Wait, is that a salvage wooden plaque that says good food? That's a damn salad spinner, man. You're not home. Busted.
Dying in the salad spinner.
Law and order. Donovan Mitchell here to report. You are chilling with your parents.
Oh no, you have actual like ladles. You are those mashed potatoes. That's a spoon for mashed potatoes. I can tell because it's like the mid-size one. It's not like a soup spoon. It's not like you have a mid-size utensil. No one owns that except for parents.
Is that a properly installed flat screen TV above a mantle? Is that a Christian show like This Is Us or The Voice? You're not at home. What is the biggest giveaway? I thought it was a paper towel rack with a full roll of paper towels.
No, you had it. It's a salad spinner. Everyone's parents have a salad spinner, and no one has a salad spinner.
I bought one once and immediately broke it and threw it away because I tried. It's the one that you press and it spins. So
I've seen that at my parents' house. Yeah.
Yeah, I believe my parents have one of those. I stomped on it to get more oomph into it, and I smashed it. It's sort of like a garden enforcer, but
Because in New York, you can't really have a salad spinner because it takes up the same size as like
Huge.
a crock pot.
huge. And salads are disgusting anyway. So there's
Yeah, they're
there's
like
two
the
strikes.
reading of foods.
Yeah. Oh, I have this cold salad with some
Ugh.
dubious dressing that's probably worse for me than a slice of
cake.
pizza.
Cake cut into your salad and it turns out to be cake.
Yeah, you can't store that in New York. Are you kidding me? Where does it go?
I'm having trouble storing my wine fridge. I get it.
Is your wine fridge plugged in at this point? It's been years,
no,
man.
no.
Are you
It's
gonna
sitting,
chuck that
it's,
thing?
it's sitting in a closet beneath a box of Mitchell Robinson teas, which you can find on the Cookies Hoops web store.
It's to store your ice cold takes.
It's a great shirt.
It is a great shirt.
It's a great shirt.
And they're still available. And I thought he was going to go on a run at the end of last season, but we didn't have an end of last season.
Yeah, the timing on the release of that shirt could have been better. I think it came out like the exact moment when he never played another game.
The streets are saying, the hype streets are saying, it's best to release something right before a global pandemic.
Anyway, Mitchell Robinson shirts are fantastic. Long sleeve, graphic on the front, on the back, on the sleeve. That's a good shirt.
That's a good shirt and a great player, man.
Great gift.
Oh, a stocking jammer, slammer, stuffer.
Black Friday.
Yeah, man. How was your Thanksgiving? What did you eat, sire?
Well, I got roped into a vegetarian Thanksgiving.
Oh,
I have to say, I think that was the first time this has occurred. All in all, fine. Ended up feeling stuffed and gross, as you're supposed to. The lack of cold turkey as a leftover to make sandwiches, I'm feeling that. You just kind of slather it with like mayonnaise or oil or something to like kind of rehydrate it. Kind of whatever else is in the fridge, just throw it on top, put it into a sandwich. I really like the day after turkey sandwiches.
Our friend Rich posted last night that he was making a cream of turkey soup for today, and that sounded wonderful.
Yeah, these are the things that I'm missing. But made some mushroom gravy. That was pretty good. Mashed potatoes. Had some vegetarian sausage in the mix. All in all, it was a fine meal. It just didn't quite feel like Thanksgiving.
Yeah, man. We're all for eating less meat and even eating no meat, but let's not pretend it tastes good. Like, Beyond makes a fine vegetarian sausage. You can disguise it in a stuffing well, but we haven't figured out how to duplicate the carnal deliciousness of animal protein.
I just wanted to carve a bird.
That's fun too. Ever carve a tofurkey?
No, I don't believe they exist. They're like electric eels. There's no way they exist.
What do you mean? I've had dozens of them. I'm surrounded by them right now. Black Friday, baby.
Electric eels?
Oh, I mean tofurkeys.
Do you believe electric eels exist, though?
Yeah, I've seen them on my TV.
That's how you say TV now?
When I'm making a point. I don't even know what that was.
Seriously, electrical eels? Electric eels? How do they possibly exist?
Ask another question after that. What do you mean? Is it inconceivable that an animal can conduct a voltage like that to shock you?
It's fucking ludicrous. It makes no sense at all. Oh, I got shocked by the animal.
Yeah, I mean, we're all batteries, right?
I'm just saying it.
Not to get too stony about this. Not to get into the simulation bullshit, but...
I mean, it's very simulation-y. Oh, yeah, I got shocked by an electric fish. Get out of here. Just madness.
Goddamn. There's an eel up in here.
Oh, that fish got me. Makes no sense at all.
I'm just chilling in my water kingdom, and all of a sudden this eel rolls up and stings me like it's some sort of hairdryer or something. Show me the outlet. Where do you get that charge? Yeah.
It's totally preposterous. Oh, it's an electrical dog. Does that make sense to you? Oh, yeah, a bat came by and shocked me. No.
That's how I feel about, like, a snapping turtle. Like, it's in the cipher. Like, these aren't the greatest disses in the world. Like, oh, yeah, a turtle's really going to get me. He's going to really offend me and my mom.
Yeah, electric eels, they totally exist.
I mean, there's no stranger animal in the animal kingdom than a squid or octopus, right? Those motherfuckers change colors.
I mean, none of these exist, obviously.
I've been cursing a lot this episode. I'm worked
like
up.
it. I like you are fired up.
Yeah.
I can see sort of the pillars of reality crumbling around you with the knowledge that electric eels don't exist. Like, your reality does not exist anymore either.
Those motherfuckers change colors.
And it makes you curse. Are you still not eating octopi because it makes you feel guilty?
Yeah.
I respect it.
And I gotta be honest, I don't love the way they taste, so that's an easy out for me. Yesterday I had a Peking duck. I bought it from Peking Duck House, and that killed me a little bit because I love ducks, but I love the taste of duck. So I have it on Thanksgiving and Christmas maybe, but definitely Thanksgiving. It was awesome, but it broke my tiny black heart.
I'm just thinking about you having like a regular duck, and it's like, this is okay, but I need Peking duck.
Totally different thing.
Mm-hmm. You know what, though? I gotta say, it just isn't Thanksgiving without the octopus. You know, that nice center octopi sitting there, 8 limbs, sprawled out, stuffed. Like, you really need that. I don't know how you did a Thanksgiving without an octopus.
There's a theory that cephalopods like that were pets left over from a civilization before humans, because there's no way to explain some of like its weird cellular brain activity. So they were just like, but they're not like smart creatures who can like figure out how to make computers. They must have been pets or like weird stowaways on a spaceship.
Like NBA players pre 1996.
They're the James Joneses.
No, before
Oh,
1996.
before 19. Okay, they're the Derek Harpers. No, they're the Rick Brunsons of the animal kingdom. The Brunsai, as they say.
I'm hearing that a lot.
The streets are saying cephalopods are like the Brunsons.
Rick Brunsons of the animal kingdom. Yeah. Duh. Everyone
No
knows this.
Me. Me.
How was your Thanksgiving, other than not having your typical octopi centerpiece? Well, you just told me you had a Peking duck. Did you have more to add to that, or did I cut you off?
I did a tour. I've been doing tours of Chinatown where I buy single items from different spots that they do well. For example, like the best noodles are at Wonton Garden. The best vegetarian duck is at Vegetarian Dim Sum House. So I pick and choose. So I order all these things, and then I circle around and pick them up in the order in which I order them, and they're usually ready.
That sounds fun, like a walking food tour.
Yeah, it's tour to Chinatown.
Chinatown is great for that. I think Roosevelt, Queens is really good too.
I'd like to go. I have not.
Like Elmhurst area. Where you
Yeah.
can just kind of wander around because it's all over the place. You could just do Latin American food, or you could just
Oh, awesome.
go willy-nilly.
That's awesome. Yeah. I'd love that. I love a food court, as you know, because of that reason. Like, I'd like to travel the world through my taste buds, man.
Are they back open at, what's the one in Queens, like New World or whatever it's called?
I believe they are. Oh God, how? I don't know. Yeah, New World Mall, which is my favorite. I don't know how they can do that because I believe the city has put a kibosh on most food halls, like the one down.
I mean,
here.
I would assume they probably have a set amount of people that are allowed in that area.
Yeah.
So maybe it is open for indoor dining, but at like 20% capacity, as in other restaurants.
Yeah.
I hadn't really thought about it. A food hall just doesn't seem to work.
No. I mean, I don't see how it can. I went to the Essex Market today, and they're doing like an abbreviated version of it where they sectioned off maybe a fifth of the space and just had all the vendors with like one table. It sucked, man. And apparently you can order pizza, but you have to call them and they'll bring it back from the oven and bring it to you. And I'm like, half of the joy of buying slices is looking at the slices, right?
I agree. But the walking food tour, though, could work these days because it's kind of destined to be eaten outside. There's a lot of talk about birria tacos these days. Have you had those?
No, tell me.
A lot of them are goat meat. I think they're traditionally goat meat. I could be wrong. But they
So-
also come with like a consomme.
Allen
that you-
Iverson.
It's when you shake his hand.
According to Dwight Howard, now Ben Simmons.
The goat meat.
Yeah.
Nice to make your acquaintance.
I'm not mad at goat. I haven't had it in years, it seems. But just tell me about these tacos. What's special about it?
I've had birria in Mexico City, in a place that's kind of distant away from Mexico City. Like an hour out. It was really good. It's like a a goat stew. So the tacos are that kind of meat, and then you dip the taco itself
Just
into
the
a
dip?
consomme. Just the dip. But there was a new place that opened up in Bushwick, kind of near the park over there.
Oh.
It's supposed to be really good. A vacationing member of the Cookies team has vouched for it. Says it's fantastic.
Amazing.
But they opened a food truck that's a Birria Landia. That was, I believe, out in deep Queens. They just opened it in Williamsburg. And I was like, oh, I'm going to sneak by there. 50 people waiting.
Awesome. I love it. I love it.
I love to see the success, even if it's at my own taco expense.
You are the line. Did you get in the line?
No.
No. So this time you were not the line.
I love the idea. I just didn't want to wait an hour for a taco.
I wish they could just consolidate this line. So when you roll up, it's like, would you like an Allen Iverson taco or a PS5?
It does look delicious, though. It's right there on the corner of Meeker and Metropolitan. If you
I
know
want
what
to check that
It's
out.
like a block from the train stop. So if you are in the Williamsburg area and you're walking that way, like keep an eye out. If there's no line, I would rush that motherfucking Berea truck.
Now who's getting hyped? I've been watching late night YouTube like food stuff, like food tours of New York. Yo, and I Google all these places, being like, okay, put them on my list. Most of them are closed now. It's crazy. It's just like, you guys have to check out this taco up in Queens. I'm like, okay, and I Google it, and it's like, sorry, we couldn't make it. I was like, God damn it.
All I have to live for these days is Berea-landia and the That's all I got.
Yeah.
That's
We gotta
all I got.
Our takes are strong, man. Not to recap the No, let's not do it. Let's wait, because we have to have a standalone segment when we find out that it was
The busy friend.
an octopus. Oh, okay, right.
I'm still
was
sticking with
Cameron.
Latina being alive. Mm-hmm. Oh, someone, I forget their handle, on Twitter, on one of my many posts, said, what about a Fight Club theory?
I love it.
And they talked about the intro, so I don't know, watch the intro of the show, and there's a small red-haired girl, I presume to be Nicole Kidman as a youth, is looking into like a crystal ball, and there's a quick flash of a straight-haired blonde girl smiling back. And I'm like, no. Oh, the busy friend is actually in her mind. I'm so angry. I'm giddy with the anticipation of the fury that I will have at the final episode. So excited to be mad.
Well, talk about Fury. Every time I watch I hate that intro song, and it's clearly Nicole Kidman singing it. But then it occurred to me, like, are there clues in the lyrics?
Yes, it's Dream a Little Dream.
Yes,
and
yes.
And it shows her looking at a globe, and there's a reflection of a blonde girl with straight hair. I'm like, you fucks.
This whole damn thing is a
You
dream.
fucks, it's all a dream.
It's all a dream. It's just like, oh, my life is perfect. Or is it? Thank you for watching the Undoing.
And like, what about the crash in Central Park? What was that? When she passed out, what was she doing? What happened? Was that her actually planting the evidence, or
Too much ketamine from the rave. The late night raving got to her, Ben.
we would have been done with coronavirus, COVID-19, if not for all the ravers and their cat. God damn it.
Daddy, what happened in 2020? It's like, that K-hole, son. Beware.
The only thing that brought us out of it as a people was the
We never
Anyway,
talked about the crown, though. I know.
Can we? All right,
we
we're
save
going to
it?
wait. No, we'll wait on the crown, because there's only going to be one more Undoing mention, because in a couple days we're going to have the finale, and then we will talk about our collective rage at it being a Fight Club scenario.
I mean, how wonderful would it be if it was actually Cameron? Confessions of Fire era busting out, being like, this will all segue into a music video featuring
Trial by
me.
Fury.
Yeah. I watched that show, We Are Who We Were, the HBO show, really quickly. It kind of flew under the radar. It was kind of good. It was like Euphoria-ish. It had a lot of Zoomers, and that was the most interesting part. But the last episode was so confusing. It was basically took place, no spoilers, it came out a while ago. It basically just took place at a Dev Hynes show and just like went through a set of his and characters like kind of wandering around. I was like, this has some Undoing energy to it.
Dev has been on the Cookies Hoops podcasts in the past. Basketball fan. Shot one of his videos in my old apartment. That's all I got. Shout out to Dev, though. Yeah. Anyway, exciting conclusion. Already pretty mad about how I'm going to feel about it. Then we can get to the crown. Is that fair?
That's fair.
Okay. Great.
Fine.
In other social media news, Fleets. Twitter has unrolled its latest feature, a blatant knockoff of Instagram's stories, which were a blatant knockoff of Snapchat. So now basically any social media that you have includes this feature. Because I want to say Instagram is already integrated into Facebook. So they all kind of have it. Are you looking at them? Because I'm not.
It's like as if they came up with the name first. It's like we need something to rhyme with tweets. Let's call Tyler Johnson Brooklyn Baller, that rapper / baller. He's like, well, rhymes with tweets, fleets, and they're like, oh yeah,
they're impermanent, perfect.
yeah. What should we attach to this thing? Because it's such a generic way to call. And it's like, we'll just do what Snapchat did. I can't wait till they do their OnlyFans section called Skeets.
Oh, pretty good.
Thank
good.
you.
Not bad. Not bad.
I know, but it isolates a population, and it's just like it's not representative enough of the entire fan base.
Okay. All right.
I'm not watching, but I'm not a stories guy.
Right. I will watch stories on Instagram, but I feel like people on Instagram who use stories have gotten pretty good at the craft. Mm-hmm. They're the ones you watch. You're like, okay, you're good at stories. You're entertaining on them, or you just get the format, the genre, and have excelled at it. Versus Twitter, where, like, if you guys were good at this, you'd be on Instagram.
I guess.
Like, come on, let's stick to the text-based.
I like Twitter's Milwaukee buckishness, though, where they're just like, this ain't going to be pretty. This ain't going to be cool. But this is a way to win a game. And they just, like, kind of stomped over this kind of, like, wonderful concept of what stories and Snapchat is. I kind of love it as an idea. My brain can't really handle it. But Twitter was like, yeah, we'll just do it too. It's like, no, but you're not doing it with any care. You're just slapping it on. You don't even function in the same way as Snapchat or Instagram. And they're like, whatever.
I mean, 100%. We don't care if it's good. Like, the interface kind of sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't care. We just want to have that up there. And I wonder if this is a product of, like, seeing maybe a softening in that market, mm-hmm. and saying, well, look, we've had people signing up and really paying attention to Twitter because of the election. We've this huge boost in sort of just attention. People are into Twitter. And I've seen people who were not, maybe they had signed up, but they just weren't on it, pop back up. Mm-hmm. And I think it was the election cycle as part of it, a way to get fast-breaking news. People bored at home. There's only so much you can Instagram from your house.
Or you're near the salad spinner and you're at someone else's house, maybe an older relative.
Are those Hoka's? But
oh, those are hiking boots, but they're not Hoka. Where are you? Are those slides, but not recovery slides?
Are you finding love in a Hoka-less place? But are we seeing now is this Twitter getting upset about the perception that Instagram is for good-looking people? Twitter is for smart people.
Yeah.
And they're like, come on, we're some good-looking people. Look at the fleets.
Which is funny that you mentioned that, because I am really into Twitter more than Instagram.
I thought you were going to say you're really good-looking.
Oh, no. I realized, as a quick aside, the other day, like, I work out purely for vanity's sake, but I know what I am. No amount of sit-ups, no amount of six-packs can get rid of this face. So there's a low ceiling, but ceiling...
But you're ripped.
I'm ripped because I'm vain. But my vanity is kind of on a low bar. I'm
sort of vain.
Yeah, I'm a Damian Dotson ceiling guy. Still in the NBA, whatever my NBA is.
Like Octopus Brunson level.
No. Octopi are like
okay.
Julius Randle, arms everywhere, thinking on the fly, multitasker, brushing his teeth and blocking a shot. Go ahead, sir.
It was going all over the place. I had to rein it in. Fleets. Are you looking at them?
Not as much. But also, the reason I'm not a Snapchat guy is because I cannot walk and chew gum. I have to do one or the other, right? I am getting worse at multitasking the more things there are available to do. So this is the interesting thing. To your point about Twitter being for chatters and people with good personalities, and Instagram for beautiful people. That's funny and maybe true. I do think Instagram has run up against a wall a little bit because we have reached maybe holiday picture saturation levels. Like, you love seeing someone's photo album, but there comes to a point where, like, it's not interesting anymore. And telling stories with pictures is hard. And I think people figured out years ago that another trip around the world with my best friend, surprise, also my husband or wife, like that kind of thing has kind of eaten its tail a little bit. So there's some great people who are doing jokes, and there's some cool people who are doing like Vine quality stories. But all in all, it's just a place where people place branding, right?
Well, you're talking about both individuals and companies,
yeah,
actual brands. Sure.
Yeah.
I think in a degree, it also sort of started becoming your Facebook album in the way that you're describing. Mm-hmm. When it first came out, there was this pressure for images to look cool, and you'd use the filters, and you'd sit there adjusting them until it was like the proper color of your cappuccino with a little heart in the middle.
Surprise, I'm in the 1920s.
It was totally based on this like specific aesthetic, and that thankfully went away. And then there was this period of non-design.
My
and
favorite.
You can it's very easy to sort of tell what people are shooting for by those kind of attributes. But at some point, it's kind of just become like, here I am with my friend.
Yeah. Which is interesting, but it's
turned into a photo album.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a grid guy. I love a grid, but I agree. It's at some point, and that's when people start renting out like rooms that look like private jets and going. I love that stuff. Like, give me more of that stuff. But I think also on Twitter's so hard. I believe Twitter's degree of difficulty is really high, and the people who are good at it, and I'm not good at it, but people who are really good at it understand kind of writing to a degree that's like fun and interesting, slightly controversial, but not controversial to the point of starting an argument. It's like there's a skill to it that I really think is aspirational in a good way. So I love the Twitter challenge more.
Yeah, same. But there's also a funny dynamic where people who are popular on Instagram because they're good looking aren't good at Twitter and don't have many followers. It's kind of funny to watch them interacting in a different ecosystem. And I think a lot of them really enjoy that, where they can kind of just crack goofy jokes or say something that only like 3 people will like. And
Yeah.
no, and I'm saying I think this is liberating from when you have, say, 50,000 Instagram followers, and you're like, all right, this has got to be a photo of this. It's aspirational. Twitter's like, oh, I'm just like peeing in the wind. Great.
Yeah, like a lot of famous YouTubers kind of ran up against the election, and YouTubers who had no business talking about healthcare because they're so good at like making food or jokes about dogs or hanging out or fashion were like, well, who are you voting for? And they're like, well, we don't really want to say because we don't do that. It's like, well, you're done. And I used to do that animal Instagram site, and I still do one, but it was, when I had like whatever, not 300,000 followers, which I ended up at, like, it was more fun. And I don't read comments much, but I would put like a picture of a cat with like a bad haircut and be like, LOL. And someone would say, well, that's a form of abuse and you're just perpetuating it. And I'm like, no, they had surgery, so they had to, like shave their arms and they look funny. It's like, well, you shouldn't mock that. Like the PETA people kind of started. And I think there's follow me here. I'm going out there, but you know when Obama put out his playlist and everyone's like, well, he's not cool anymore because U2's on here and old songs. I'm like, well, aren't you glad your favorite stuff isn't on the former president of the United States playlist? Like, maybe I'm stuck in the 90s, but the idea of subculture has an appeal to it. Like, you don't want everybody kind of like into the thing you're into all the time, right? If you get
And that's part of the joy of it.
right.
If you're like, I discovered this band, I love it, and Obama likes them too,
You're psyched, and like,
that's cool, but I think I have to dig a little deeper.
and it sounds like some weird Williamsburg hipster stuff, but I love hipsters and I love Williamsburg, whatever, and I'm not.
But what
mad
we're
at
talking about is monoculture.
Yeah, right.
Like, why would you want monoculture? Mm-hmm. Why does Obama need to validate your taste in any way whatsoever? Obama's a former president. He's
a politician.
That's a mainstream dude.
Yeah. It's like he loves basketball. Who do you have this year in the NBA? He's like, I don't know. How are my Bulls doing? I'm like, right. Like, and I think this monoculture thing that took me a zillion words to just what you said in one is what's happening to Instagram, where I was really into one of my friends being weird and maybe just like secret graffiti stuff, or one of my friends only cooking veggie stuff. Now it's another trip around the world with my best friend for everybody. And I'm like, oh, I wish there was different things. And I don't know, maybe on Twitter I see that more.
I think that's true. Speaking of monoculture, this is where you pivot into Jordan originalism. And I'm not talking about the one that's on vacation. I'm talking about Michael Jordan originalism.
It's not the original hot dog legs.
No, this is Michael Jordan originalism. But it's also a discussion of basketball monoculture. Because Jordan's shadow is long. And he is still the embodiment of what we view a basketball player that is a superstar is supposed to be. He wasn't this to begin with. It was big guys. Bill Russell, Kareem.
Why did I think of Kevin Duckworth anyway? Duckworth.
Duckworth.
I don't know.
But Michael Jordan redefined stardom in the NBA. And we are still struggling to escape that prototype that he created. And it's literally him. It is a perimeter player who dribbles out the clock, goes one-on-one, 5, 4, crossover, 3, 2, step back fadeaway,
Hits the shot.
or misses. We don't even care, really.
Yeah.
It's just that's what it's supposed to look like.
Yeah.
Every single time.
It was what the founders of the NBA intended for this league to look like. Enough of your efficiency, or 7 seconds or less.
But it's weird because I think we were too young to critically think about basketball pre-Michael Jordan.
I just wanted the shoes. Never got
I
them.
mean, we're children. We couldn't think about what made a star pre-Jordan. But looking back, even with a little bit of knowledge now, because I don't honestly care what happened pre-Michael Jordan or really what happened pre-Allen Iverson. But looking back, what's Larry Bird's most famous play? It's probably the one where he steals the inbounds pass and then fires an assist. That's probably his most famous play. When I think of Magic Johnson's most famous plays, I think of passing.
Yep. Behind the back pass through the lane.
Yeah, and we think of what was Bill Russell's stardom, being a great defender, being a great team player. There's no moment of a Bill Russell big shot. Nothing. There's no footage. I've never seen a photo of Bill Russell making a big shot. Like, did that even happen?
He never made a shot.
I don't think he ever made a big shot. Even Wilt, we don't see clips of 5, 4, 3. Wilt! Like, no. Bob Cousy. I mean, so much of this is BMM related, right? But Bob Cousy dribbling with one hand in a circle is like an iconic last-second play.
Well, Dr. J had that dunk, that famous he was kind of behind the backboard.
Oh, I mean, incredible play, but that was more just a feat of athleticism and grace and beauty than Jordan hitting a jumper over Craig Elo and fist pumping. So I guess where I'm going with this is I think Michael Jordan did create that idea of the go-to guy in a way that may not have existed prior to that. I could be wrong, but this is my cognizance, is what I'm saying.
I'm with you on this. That's a pretty good thought, because before Jordan got Pippen on his team, I remember the chatter being he's no Magic Johnson. He is a stats hog and original Anthony Davis, as they say, who still doesn't have a real ring. So let's see what happens in 2021.
Classic feral big behavior.
Yeah. And I remember the old heads at that time being like, first of all, the Steve Miller Band is incredible.
A.
Yeah. Yeah. B, Michael Jordan is no Magic Johnson, who has the hardware, baby. And that was like the discussion I heard as a young kid.
His greed is good ethos
Yeah.
was viewed as a negative trait.
Yes, it was. And Magic Johnson was famous for being a facilitator as a power forward.
And Larry Bird was famous for being a great
An energy
shooter,
guy, a toughness.
but also a great passer.
He did it all, and Jordan and Dominique were just these two slammer jammers who didn't affect wins. And then it shifted, obviously, because Jordan added a player to his team that has 6 championships and never lost a finals. And we're talking about, accolades. Come on. And I think the way we gravitated towards Michael Jordan is like an emotional and aesthetic and branding type of thing. And it's easy to fall in love with these types of players, right? Like Kobe Bryant is built for the casual fan. He looks
yes,
cool.
yes. No, you are right. And I would say that it's wild that basketball did not necessarily, to our recollection, have that archetype. The guy who says, give me the ball, I'm going to get us a bucket. The fate of this game and the franchise will rest squarely on my shoulders. It's me time. And my own glory as a player is tied to this play in a way that is inextricable. Like, this is about me now. It's not necessarily about the team. If they win, the team wins, but it's about me. Am I personally going to have the responsibility for winning this game for the team? And like, that's been, at this point, what we regard as a superstar for 30 years. And that was leading into what you were saying about Kobe.
Yeah, and before we talk about Kobe, I want to talk about like branding a little bit, because Magic Johnson has the perfect name. Magic. He's a facilitator. He's on the Lakers. It's yellow and gold and purple. These are perfect branding goods. It's like, oh man, be like Mike. No one can mess with that. That swoosh. And I think we think about Michael Jordan to such a degree past his actual abilities, in the same way like we kind of ignored Clyde Drexler, who was an amazing player, but we don't discuss him in the way we discuss other ballers. And Isaiah Thomas never had that opportunity to win fans over, and we should never undervalue what Nike did for Michael Jordan and Originalists.
I would say that there was actually a tangible sense of jealousy and irritation that Michael Jordan was able to brand himself in a way that the prior stars, Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, and those guys had not been able to. That they were still part of Showtime Los Angeles. That Michael
Bad Boys
was viewed as their peer. They knew he was amazing and he was great, but that he had taken a strategic departure from how basketball players had previously been marketed and capitalized it in a way that they had not thought to do or been able to do. Yeah. And again, I don't mean this as hostility, but I think there was precisely an awareness of what you were just describing. That like guys like Magic, they had sneaker deals, they had posters, they were superstars, but they didn't build out the brand like Jordan did with Nike. And in the same way.
Definitely. And we're so good at it now with Instagram, like we were talking. And I think Jordan Originalists are, in a way, reminds me of John Kerry and Biden being president now. Being like, all right, things are still landing your way, but it's going to shift so quickly when LeBron James retires, and we will all do this automatically, being like, "Oh, he was the best," and he is not only a combination of Jordan's or Magic Johnson plus Jordan's skill, but also Jordan's branding. And I'm a big loser, so I was watching the Kyrie Irving game-winning shot, series-winning shot, finals-winning shot against Golden State Warriors because I was kind of lamenting the demise of that team, and I love them so much. And I was watching a hype reel of all the angles of the Kyrie shot, which was incredible. And Steph Curry actually played good defense on it. And there was LeBron James in the corner just looking up at that ball. And I was like, he's a damn genius, man. Like, he just made it all work for him. And people get on him for not taking those last shots all the time. He has nothing else to prove now. I think, like, watching him idle in the corner as Kyrie shot a contested game winner was kind of incredible.
But that is precisely Jordan originalism, because Kobe was a shoddy simulacrum of Jordan.
Oh,
great,
nice.
Great player.
Yeah.
Great player. But he was modeled specifically after Michael Jordan, and they actually shared some attributes, excuse me, that made them this kind of player, right? Mm-hmm. So when
You're talking about Kyrie.
I'm talking about Kobe.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
talking about MJ, and Kyrie shares some of those as well.
Yeah.
But the reason that we talk about perimeter players getting the ball, going ISO, taking a shot, is because that's what Michael Jordan was best at. Mm-hmm. Like, it's just a coincidence, basically. Michael Jordan was a great ISO scorer who had the athletic ability to rise up and get his shot whenever he wanted to, and was amazing at mid-range jumpers. Like, if he was better at something else, that's what probably would have been the model for what you do at the end of games. Mm-hmm. But that's what Michael Jordan did. So that's what we view a superstar closer is supposed to do. Kobe wasn't even good in the clutch specifically, but was another guy with excellent athleticism and the ability to get his shot off whenever, and he was a good mid-range shooter. Mm-hmm. He didn't have the same success that MJ did, but it looked the same visually. Right. And when MJ or Kobe or Kawhi Leonard or other guys who are in this archetype miss that shot, it usually hits the rim. And you as a fan can say, it's a binary, man. Make or miss league. You know? Ooh, we were 6 inches away from a victory. How close was that? Mm-hmm. Everyone is comfortable with that outcome. It could be Zach LaVine. Everyone is comfortable with, okay, 5, 4, 3, 2. Step back, it goes up. Ooh, it hits the rim. Sometimes it goes in. Yeah. Everyone can live with that, and they don't think about it again. Mm-hmm. You know, it doesn't stick in your craw. Mm-hmm. Kawhi Leonard in a game 7, what did he shoot? Something like 7 of 24 or something?
Yeah.
Against the Nuggets? No one even holds it against him.
Yeah.
Because sometimes those shots go in. And I think that idea, there was a lot of resistance to LeBron being a superstar because he was willing to pass the ball, because he was willing to find an open teammate, that everyone could acknowledge he was making the right basketball play, but it didn't sit right as what an alpha male was supposed to do because of Jordan.
Yeah. I kind of saw hints of that in this bub with Tyler Herro. And I know he's like a new prototype culturally, but on the court, he had a couple of really big games, and he's awesome to watch. He moves fluidly. He's Jordan-esque to me in a way. But some people I knew were like, yo, he's a beast. Like, how did he go so late in the draft? This guy's incredible. I'm like, look at his game log. He had a couple good games, and he is exactly who he is. But, you know, it's so easy for me to believe in the greatness of a player because I have dribble bias, right? I have a Michael Jordan bias where I have been so convinced by Spike Lee commercials and the culture of Air Jordan that if you look like it, I'll start doubting my brain, and I'll be like, is Tyler Herro great? That looked Jordan-esque to me, you know?
Well, this brings me to Joel Embiid, because he is one of the league's best ISO scorers. That's kind of what he does. Doesn't catch lobs, doesn't get a lot of assisted threes, kind of gets the ball in the block, goes to work. and scores at a high rate, draws a shit ton of fouls. He's efficient, turns the ball over more than you'd like. But he's an ISO scorer. That's what he does. And a lot of Philadelphia fans in the media has said, we need a closer. It can't be a post player. It can't be Joel Embiid. We need a Lou Williams. We need a Zach LaVine. We need someone who looks like Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
We need someone to dribble down the clock. 5, 4, 3. And I find that kind of fascinating because it's so convincing, right? You've got Jordan originalism. You got to have a perimeter player who can make plays at the end. It's got to be a perimeter guy. Also, we have the modern basketball ideas, which are you shouldn't post up. Posting up is harder. Can't really do that. Need someone who can shoot. So it's this very seductive argument to say that Joel Embiid, who literally was the best clutch time scorer in the NBA last year, is somehow bad at it and can't be trusted in the clutch to make good plays. He was the second leading scorer in the clutch in the entire NBA last year and had a true shooting percentage of 72%. He was the best by a lot last year. And yet people are saying, Sixers need to go get Lou Williams and let him decide the fate of the franchise. Very strange.
I have a response that'll shut you down.
God damn it.
Do you even watch the games, bro? Do you? I mean, the games, do you watch them?
I knew I should have watched the games. I knew it. I knew just going on Basketball Reference would end up biting me in the ass.
This guy's just reciting stuff from Basketball Reference. He doesn't even watch the games, bruh.
I should have watched them. I never did. I don't even know what a basketball looks like. I get it. It's an orange oblong thing, like shaped like a pumpkin, I guess, or a squash, one of the two. Vegetarian Thanksgiving type of object.
Sure. I'm like, yeah, yeah.
It's an octopus, yeah.
I mean, it is tough. I think fans, I've noticed this off season, that fans have gotten so much smarter. Like, even myself, I feel like I've gotten even more informed as a fan with everybody. Really? I don't know. Maybe not. I don't know. Klay Thompson's awesome.
I'm sorry. I was with you until the U part.
Yeah. Klay Thompson, good. Jordan Bell, max contract. It's cool.
Rick Brunson, octopus. Yes, great.
Yeah. Brunsai. But, like the way fans talk about the Knicks and the way fans rejoiced after the Morey hire, right? Like, I think it was a consensus being like, oh, this guy gets it. There was very little of like, but he didn't win any championships. There was some of that. But the Jordan originalism will persist, right? Because it is a seductive idea. It works. And Joel Embiid is not a seductive player. He's kind of a lumbering isolation, as you said, guy. And he's not joyful anymore. So the inclination would be to say it's because he's not successful or he can't do the things he wants to on the court and his talent runs out. He's not joyful because he's been working for an awful boss for a few years. I
think a lot of his optics too.
It's all optics, yeah.
Embiid can dribble the ball with his foot a couple times in
it happens.
Big moments, which happens, and everyone will say, look at this chump. But there's not any particular difference between him bouncing the ball off his huge foot and it becoming a turnover than someone bricking a jumper.
Yeah.
But we accept missing a jumper because that's how it works. Michael Jordan made a commercial about how he missed so many game-winning shots. Totally part and parcel to being an absolute superstar. Yeah. Dribbling the ball off your size 22 Under Armour shoe or whatever Joel is wearing these days.
Oh, the shoes are rough.
Whatever he's wearing, that doesn't look like Michael Jordan.
Right.
Michael Jordan would do a spinning fadeaway that would look beautiful.
Yeah.
Might miss, but it would look beautiful. He would never fall down with the ball bouncing off his big clown foot.
Yeah. I mean, I always come back to Tim Duncan. It's like, well, Duncan's not as good as Jordan, even though he had a ton of success. Look at what he did. It's all his body. If Jordan had that body, he'd even be better. And I'm like, But having those dimensions is a talent. And being as big as Michael Jordan is his own advantage, He wasn't Isaiah Thomas big. He was bigger. And, same with Joe. The way the way we frame what big men can and can't do in terms of effort and skill is off kilter to me.
I'm not even a huge fan of post play. It's true. Getting the ball to a big guy in the post has more reliance on your teammates than just getting the ball and dribbling it up yourself. That's true. No doubt. Make sure the teammates are good then.
Yeah.
Make sure your teammates command respect from defenders. Sure. I get all that.
Defense.
Yeah. Be forthright. I get these complications of feeding the post. Again, not even a huge post fan. But when it boils down to it, all these ideas about role, all these ideas about what makes a good shot, it comes down to the most boring shit, man.
Yeah.
Who's the player? Who's the player? Giannis taking a three doesn't make that a good shot. It's a three, though. Doesn't matter. Giannis is taking it.
Yeah.
Oh, we got to the rim. Yeah, but it was Trae Young.
Yeah.
And his shit got sent. Like, oh, we drew a foul. Cool, but it's Dwight Howard. It depends on the guy. Yeah. And in the case of Joel Embiid, the numbers show he was literally the best ISO scorer in the entire NBA in clutch situations, as defined by, like, I forget the exact parameters, but it's something like within a last 5 minutes of a game that's within 5 points. I think that's the NBA's specific criteria. But just looks different. And again, I don't even like feeding the post. I don't even like that shit, but the numbers are what they are. Mm-hmm. If you want to feed someone the ball with the game on the line, you can just give it to Joel Embiid if that's what you want to do. I don't even believe in the idea of a closer, to be totally honest.
I don't either. But
go play good basketball.
Yeah, every minute counts. Stuff gets tighter in the last few minutes, but this runs parallel to our Instagram conversation because no one gives Rudy Gobert stress about closing or dribbling the ball off his foot. He shouldn't be doing that. He's a rim protector, a max contract, one of a big three anywhere he goes, rim protector. Done. Rudy Gobert is great. But Joel Embiid is kind of better than Rudy Gobert. So he opens himself up to more criticism. He has too many followers now. He has to declare his allegiances, the things he doesn't even care about. It's like, right, we criticize Joel Embiid more than a player like Rudy Gobert because he's much better than Rudy Gobert.
I think some of this falls under what we've seen repeatedly. Sorry, I'm just choking up over this.
Yeah, it is sad, but I think it'll get better.
A little emotional.
Yeah.
This is Philly fans specifically, Philly media, underestimating their own guys and wishing they were perfect or wishing they were someone else. Like, there is certainly a contingency of people from Sixers Nation that would trade Simmons for Jamal Murray in a heartbeat. Like, immediately. Oh, done.
Terrifying.
Great. Done move. Like, that would be a disastrous move.
Terrifying.
It
Simmons, yeah.
Like, it would be an absolutely disastrous move. But, again, what does Jamal Murray do? Look at those shots he made. Look at those crazy fall-aways.
Yeah.
I mean, Jordan Originalism is in that playoff series. Him and Donovan Mitchell going back and forth. Two guys who can't defend a lick, scoring on each other 50 times.
Yeah.
That's what we want, right?
Yeah.
Difficult shot making.
I mean, the Nuggets
It looks great. I like watching it too. It's fun. I'm just talking about winning versus optics are kind of different.
The Nuggets are the perfect example of this because the god Nikola Jokic is the reason why every team has difficulty with Denver. Of course, you have to have his complement, and Jamal Murray is a fine complement who can put the ball in the hoop. He's a wandering basin, right? But the whole thing begins and ends with Nikola Jokic, who's kind of like an offensive genius. But he's not pleasing to the eye. He's like lumbering, can't really jump. He's kind of doughy. We don't know where from Europe he's from.
No one knows.
No one knows. We'll never know. But it is a perfect example of the idea of NBA as entertainment and the idea of NBA as, I hate to use this word, a simulation, right? And Nikola Jokic is easily the more valuable player than Jamal Murray. But we remember Murray from this bub.
A lot of this kind of falls into the show business archetype, though, right? Like, what's your leading man look like? MJ. Oh, he's got like a prominent chin, good hair, like steely eyes, broad shoulders.
Matt Damon. Okay, go on.
Right, but that's what I'm saying, right? Philip Seymour Hoffman might be the best actor. But, like, who's really coming to watch Philip Seymour Hoffman as, like, the star of Mission Impossible? He can be the bad guy.
He's a pretty good bad guy.
No, that's what I'm saying. He can be the bad guy. He's great as the bad guy.
We come
He
from Cruise
he can't be
Control.
your leading man. Come on. He's a little paunchy.
I'm putting this electric car into cruise control, man. We're going to see this MI movie.
Like, let's watch Moneyball. Who's the main guy? Brad Pitt. Okay, cool. Brad Pitt. Yes. Okay, he's the main actor. Yeah. Okay. Who else we got? Philip Seymour Hoffman again. Okay, he's Art Howe. What about Jonah? He's the stat nerd. Okay, but just to be clear,
Brad Pitt.
you see a lot of Brad Pitt, like, looking cool.
So
kicking
Moneyball is a
some
movie
TVs.
about the little guy and teamwork, right? And wanting it more. I'm like, yeah, whatever. Brad Pitt's in it.
Yeah, it's like the handsomest guy in the world. He's the guy who likes stats. Okay, great.
The actual Billy Bean, you know, his looks kind of carried him far. His looks made him a top pick, right?
Toolsy, 5-tool player.
Not one, not two. But I mean, I love it too, and I'm not gonna front. I love watching Jamal Murray shoot those weird shots. I have nothing invested in it. I love him.
Yeah, it's sick. It's sick.
Yeah, it's more fun than watching Nikola Jokic, but I want 5 Nikola Jokic's on my team if I cared. I want Joel Embiid all day.
That is a rigatoni hero.
It's like a fusilli stuffed in a pappardelle, stuffed in a shell, stuffed in a taco.
Yeah, a latke.
But
yeah. It is interesting when you think about how that Jordan shadow has been cast over the league for 30 years.
it's because his shoes are still in our attention span, right?
Well, it's also just because he is established as the GOAT. You know, he established himself as the GOAT and created that position. I'm the GOAT, the greatest of all time. Like, it is the personal branding for sure. But I mean, he created that role, right? Mm-hmm. The greatest of all time. There were debates. Some people might even put Kareem above him. But really, he ended that debate for several generations until LeBron came around. And now we see a little more greater acceptance of LeBron's style play. Mm-hmm. You know, a Harden or a Doncic who have the ability to both score and distribute in those moments.
Bizarre question and body positivity here. What if Jordan looked exactly the same, had the same career, but had the face of like body positive? I think he's very handsome. Nick Van Exel or Sam Cassell or Reggie Miller. Would we talk about them the same way? Him the same way?
I guess you have to, but I know.
It's not happening, right? Like, he doesn't become the branding megastar.
He might, though. Well, if you look like Popeye Jones.
No disrespect to Popeye Jones or Sam Bowie.
All love.
Yeah.
But Popeye Jones looked like Shrek.
A blockbuster movie. Blockbuster.
All love. An unorthodox leading man, nevertheless.
Yes. Come for the donkey, stay for Shrek.
Michael Myers, Eddie Murphy, it's legends all.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know in like a multiverse if Jordan if he stayed with, I believe it was Adidas, right, originally, or if the design of these shoes, I forgot the designer, he has a cool name for Nike, designs these classic consumer items. These Black Friday legends. This timeless Black Friday tradition of buying your Jordan colorway. If he didn't have this and the shoes look like Steph Curry's, Under Armour Steph Curry's or Joel Embiid Under Armour's, like, would he be the GOAT on the court? Probably. But, you know.
I wonder. He may just go down as in that conversation. Mm-hmm. Oh, Wilt, Kareem, Bill Russell, Magic, Larry, Popeye Jones,
Sam Bowie, Nick Van Exel, The Quick.
Yeah, until LeBron came along and took that title off the shelf. But you're right. If Tinker Hatfield wasn't there designing awesome sneakers for him, he didn't look great and have like his gold chain swinging in the dunk contest, if he didn't make, a shaved head,
Yep.
iconic.
If he let his bozo clown hair receding line, no shaming, body positivity, he left that grow out like LeBron did, I don't know. But
I love the idea of iconic Michael Jordan floating from the foul line. And it's
the receding hairline.
that's Popeye Jones with the receding hairline on top of it.
Hey, man.
It's really good.
I mean, like you said, we don't go for Philip Seymour Hoffman. We stay for him, but we go for Tom Cruise or Ben Affleck. The accountant. The one and only accountant. Show me someone else who can play the accountant. And I'll show you a unicorn. But I think Jordan originalism is lazy. I think it is. I had this idea the other day, like, do Zoomers listen to Jay-Z and have the feeling that we felt when we listened to the Eagles? Respect. The Eagles' greatest hits, maybe, I believe it's the best-selling record of all time. But when you hear it, you're like, oh, this is cool, but it's not for me, and it's not relevant in my life, and it has nothing to do to inform me of what I want to do.
Really? I feel like I've seen you weeping as Hotel California played.
That is the best rock and roll documentary of all time. That 4-hour beast is incredible because you got a bunch of Michael Jordans running around in the same band. It's as if Michael Jordan was playing with 4 other Michael Jordans. It's like
Pippen, Horace Grant, Dennis Rodman, Tony Kukoc, all equals together.
BJ Armstrong. Yeah. That documentary was amazing because everyone's like, listen, I was perfect. What the fuck was up with my bandmates who were off Like, they weren't rock and roll, like, burnouts. They were professionals. I think we talked about this. They were aspirational and, like, striving towards greatness. And they were like, he was off key, so we had to kick him out of the band. I love that stuff. But, go ahead.
Well, going on this idea, right, of Michael Jordans together on a team. One of the biggest ingredients in the argument for Michael Jordan is that he didn't have another Michael Jordan because he kept Pippen at arm's length. Like, Pippen was brought to heel. So Jordan didn't get to play with another Jordan.
God, Pippen was good, man.
Great player. Whew. But moving to today's NBA.
Finally. No more Jay-Z.
Boomer chat.
Yeah.
You look at the Nets. They have 2 Jordans, in a way. Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving. 2 guys who both have this role. They were celebrated for signing together. A real thumb in the Knicks' eye when they went to Brooklyn Nets. KD sat out all of last season. Kyrie sat out the majority of the games, including the postseason. So neither of them have really played at all. I think combined they've played about 17 games, 20 games, something like that. Looking at them this year, Nets roster, along with those 2 guys who are probable Hall of Famers, almost definitely Hall of Famers. I'm just saying. They're Hall of Famers. What am I talking about?
Yeah.
Along with Waluigi, Landry Shamet, Tyler Johnson, who has bars, Karis LeVert, Spencer Dinwiddie,
Bitcoin King,
Tyshawn Prince, always a favorite of Andrew Kuo.
I love Tayshaun Prince. Oh, fantasy-wise, get him on my team. Get him on my team. $1. Let's go.
All right. Easy.
Woo.
Joe Harris, a walking bucket. They have a lot of talent on this team. DeAndre Jordan, Jared Allen. This is a deep squad with 2
halfway
Hall
crooks.
of Famers in the starting lineup. Can this team win a title next year?
Hells yeah. This team is good. This team is in the East with little resistance. There's Philly. There's Heat culture. And that's about it. And I think...
Milwaukee.
Oh, I forgot. And Milwaukee. Ooh, the East is kind of spicy.
It's a little spicy.
A little hot. But
Toronto's going to be good again. They're like good, but not scary. But they're going to be good.
Yeah. I like Fred VanVleet. Will always be a Knicks legend for me in a alternate universe. But I think the Nets, like Dominique Wilkins was the only one to come back from an Achilles and actually be good, right? I don't think that's an accurate metric. I think there's not enough examples, not enough body types. It's like styles make fights again. But I have all the faith in Durant coming back only because we saw him come back from that weird foot bone injury, and people thought he was done then. So let's just assume Durant is 90% this season, 85, 90, which is wonderful and fantastic. This team is sick, man. If Kyrie Irving can play enough games and just be healthy in the playoffs, you don't want to play this team.
I'm not sure if they're going to be able to defend that well, but they're going to score so many points.
Yeah, Durant's defense will probably, his lateral movement will probably be a shadow of itself, but you have a little rim protection. You have DeAndre and Jared Allen.
I don't really love DeAndre as a defender at this point.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm not sold on him. I think Allen's pretty good as a rim protector, especially in a league where there aren't too many just straight up brutes who can pulverize him and just dunk on his head. Because he's a bit light in the ass, but there aren't too many of those guys floating around.
There's no junk in his trunk.
Not enough junk in the trunk.
The wagon is a mini.
It's not Lowry-esque.
But what is?
Yeah, you can't hold anyone to that body type standard. It's just unfair.
Wonderful body type standard. But I don't think Sean Marks is done, right? Like, they are not set. None of these teams are set in stone, but Sean Marks is a great GM, and I like ownership there. So I think they're going to see what they have and immediately make adjustments because they have a lot of pieces that people want.
Yeah, I think Karis LeVert and Spencer Dinwiddie are both excellent players. They're not necessarily stars, but they're both good. And, of course, there was all the talk of James Harden going there. I don't think they really have the package to...
No, not close.
That would make it worth Houston's time.
Yeah, no.
I would not trade James Harden and 2 years of James Harden for LeVert and Dinwiddie and whatever else
Kyrie,
they toss in.
But he wants to play with Kyrie.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Sure, if you throw in Kyrie Irving, I would do the trade.
Yeah.
In a second, cool. I have 4 years of Kyrie Irving or 3 more years versus 2 of Harden who wants to be traded. Done.
Yeah.
But all that to say, I am worried about the defense. I'm not convinced with DeAndre. I don't think Durant's ever been a great defender. I think he can block some shots. I don't think he's bad, but I don't think he's a particularly strong defender. Kyrie, he's gotten a bit better, but he's still like a little scrappy do, kind of chasing after the play.
Sure.
He doesn't quite die on picks like he used to, but again, he's not an impact defender. The walking bucket Joe Harris, again, not a great defender. Spencer Dinwiddie, a bad defender. LeVert, okay.
Good, right?
Who, LeVert?
Yeah.
He's okay.
I'm looking up his BPM, and it is not its league average. It's negative point.
Yeah,
Tobias Harris-esque.
I think he's okay.
Yeah.
But Dinwiddie's bad defensively. Shamit's pretty bad defensively. There's just not a lot of good defenders on that team that you can stack a lineup with. But they do have a lot of good offensive players.
And I think, and this is probably my real answer. You'd be lucky if the defense was their problem, because that means these players are playing games. I think the real danger with this team is a lot of their players are coming off of major injuries, and Kyrie is always prone to missing a 20-game stretch at any moment. Karis LeVert and Durant kind of have a history where it makes you pause a little bit.
Durant's coming off multiple long-term injuries.
Yeah, man.
And so is Karis LeVert.
Yeah. And that's why Karis dropped in the draft, because of his biometrics. And I think if you're talking about your defense, something right has gone. It has played to the Nets' hand. This is a very Knicksian team in that they took a chance on these big, huge names. And these are better names than Allen Houston and Amari Stoudemire. But I said Amari Stoudemire. And I think I would do that if I was Joseph Tsai too, if just buying a new team. But I'm glad my team doesn't have these issues. Right.
Okay. Sorry. I get it.
I don't the minute Durant's Achilles snapped, I was like, do not spend money on him.
I get it. I'm saying this with love. The Knicks fan here is like, I'm glad I don't have those KD, Kyrie, LeVert, Dinwiddie problems over on this end.
I don't think Nets fans are that optimistic.
It's because there aren't any Nets fans.
This is
If
true.
there were, you'd be hearing about it all day.
They're all posting pictures of salad spinners somewhere in the Midwest. Nets, baby. I'm like, are those hiking boots that aren't Hoka's?
Are those Crocs, but in blue?
Durant, baby. It's just like, wow, that salad is very dry. It's
I'm
not
sorry.
a drop.
There's a rake in the background.
Yeah, there's multiple dogs in the background. There's rugs.
But yeah, if Brooklyn had actual fans, you'd be hearing about it all day.
You think so?
Yeah. Imagine if this was the Lakers. All you'd be fucking hearing about. Durant, KD, Durant, Kyrie.
Yeah,
Durant,
but Lakers
Kyrie.
fans are like insufferable. So if this was Heat culture, I think like there would be people selling this team a bit. There's some haters in Heat culture.
I'm saying people would. The Nets are respect to Nets day ones. You know, if you were there for Chris Morris, all respect.
Keith
God,
Van Horn,
Todd McCullough, KVH, legends all.
Mookie Blaylock.
But if you are talking about active fan bases right now, the Nets do not have an active fan base, especially within sort of the chatty, like NBA Twitter ecosystem. The Nets are not prominent. Knicks fans, you hear them. Sixers fans, Celtics fans, Lakers fans, Heat fans. You just don't see Brooklyn fans that much.
No, and I thought when they moved to Brooklyn, we'd see the kids who grew up watching the Brooklyn Nets grow into passionate 21-year-old fans, but we don't really see that much. The Knicks in relegation still reign under the overpass that is New York City.
I just think it'll take a little time. And the Nets have also been bad. So they didn't ingratiate themselves to a
Also boring,
like
right?
12-year-olds, 13-year-olds.
Yeah. There was no star. I asked a hardcore Nets fan who is, I believe he's 13 now, loves the Nets. I'm like, who's your favorite player? He's like, DeAndre Jordan. I'm like, okay, fuck. You need your own guy. And it might not be KD or Kyrie. It might not exist on this team because they have such a long history. To get their own guy, they're just going to have to draft a Kevin Knox. I'm sorry. It's just going to have to be Frank Ntilikina.
If you don't have an Obi Toppin, what are you even doing?
What
you
are
know,
you
how can I respect your franchise? You know, if you don't have Kevin Knox in the wings. I think it'll just take time because the Nets were bad and boring, and then they were bad and interesting, but not enough to really attract the attention of young fans.
And they
We
had no
could sit
draft
there and
picks,
say,
so, yeah.
I like what they've been doing. These are all smart moves.
Yeah.
You can say, oh, I think Dinwiddie's cool, but they've been really bad.
Yeah.
And they, to your point, they didn't get any like lottery picks, like Zion's arriving.
Yeah.
So I think it's more a product of the timing of their move, the disappointment there, the teardown, and now I think you'll start seeing if they are a contender, as they should be. Mm-hmm. You'll start seeing young people in a few years, being able to hang their hat on this team. That's probably what will happen.
Yeah, I almost look towards Zoomer fashion to be like, okay, eventually this very, very uncool thing will be cool. Just because, like we said, a resistance against monoculture. So the way young kids wear these shirts that I don't think are that hot, but like have a lot of type on them and a lot of photoshopping going on. I'm like, oh, I'm just stuck in the muck of like rap tees. So like I can't really speak this language, but I'll take their word for it. This seems cool to me. And I feel like that's what will happen to the Nets.
Well, the Nets also really tied themselves to kind of 90s rap, 90s Brooklyn, Jay-Z, like Clark Kent, Biggie, and
Just putting Russian players on that court for real, though.
they definitely did. Yeah. But, they really tied the team identity in many ways to 90s rap. Mm-hmm. And
Bed-Stuy.
And I don't think that's necessarily the coolest thing to tie it to until it is again.
Right.
But I'm with you on that idea because when Jay-Z stopped being cool, you're like, well, Jay-Z, he came up with these boring uniforms. It's supposed to be like the Yankees. This is tied to Jay. It's not great.
Yeah. I agree, and I think we're hipsterdom. Even the king, Joe Harris, who opened up his new barber shop, maybe is serving some croissant mutated with another delicious baked item.
Oh, come on, that's a sour beer connoisseur.
That is a sour beer god. He knows when an avocado's ripe. But I think, yeah, I don't know when the Nets will get cool. And even though they won the trade with Danny Ainge, I think it's going to take time.
The branding was bad.
The branding was awful.
They wanted to be taken seriously rather than being fun.
Right. Which is always the mistake of everything, right? Every time I start something, like I remember when I first joined Twitter, I'm like, I'm going to try to have thoughtful thoughts on here. And right, this was like a long time ago. I thought it was like a joke. Well, I thought it was a joke in that like, it's never going to add up to anything. Meanwhile, it is like more important than ever, I guess. But yeah, I always start things off being like, I want to be serious about cooking dinner. I'm like, no, I just want something delicious and fun.
They went with a bad color scheme. They went with a generic name. You know, there were a lot of options that they had at the time that I think could have made people embrace that team as actually being part of Brooklyn, instead of being the Nets that did not have a rich history, with all due respect to Keith Van Horn and Kerry Kittles and the gang, the God, Kenyon Martin, so forth. But it wasn't as if
Lucius
the
Harris.
Nets are coming here. The Nets. OKC did it right. They just changed all the colors. They erased the history of the Seattle Supersonics off the map. Why didn't Brooklyn do that?
Were they originalists? It was as the founders of the Nets saw born.
The framers.
Yeah.
John Calipari and the framers of the Nets.
I know. I heard rumors back in the day that like they were basing some of their alternate uniforms on Coogee sweaters. I'm like, finally, something exciting. Like, that sounds great. I can't wait to see these loud, multicolored jerseys on the court. And it was like this little trim with some accents. And I was like,
Still an improvement.
I guess so. Yeah, for sure. I don't know. Do you think the Mavs and Nets graffiti jerseys will be sought after in 10 years?
I don't hate those jerseys like other people do. Like, they're fine. But again, they're just so 90s.
It's so 90s. I know. Graffiti.
Like, I mean, what's the new one? The Basquiat one? It's very predictable.
Yeah, and I don't think Basquiat and Coogee and Hayes and graffiti are bad ideas. It's just, I want to be in that room where Hayes is showing all of his ideas, and the owners are like, do you think it's too much for our audience? We got kids in here. Will they understand what a drippy cap is, you know? And you just end up here because of the corporate. You end up with John Kerry on your cabinet.
I agree. I think when you're starting with a color scheme that is black and white and a name as dreary as the Nets, you just have to go psycho with it.
Yeah.
Like, it's the worst name in the NBA by far. It's the worst color scheme in the NBA by far. Like, it is an absolutely abysmal palette to give a team. It's black and white, and the name is like the, I don't know, piece of cloth that hangs around the basket. Go ape shit.
I have a proposal for the Nets organization. If they're listening right now, for sure. The head honchos. I want them to pivot from the Nets as a thing on a basketball court to the internets and have a Matrix themed identity with like scrolling green numbers and names. Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant,
like a Cookies Hoops shirt from 2 years ago.
You're catching my drift, Ben. And like the jerseys could be extra long, sort of like Neo's trench coat. They can like bring out the small sunglasses, like really play up the idea of the Matrix. Have a chopper come down and rain bullets onto the court and have the Nets players all dodge them.
You can't be giving away these ideas on the pod. We're already giving them multiple pods, exclusive discounts, early access to hats, and now you're giving up
I know.
the Brooklyn internets?
I'll be on my grave and I'll be like, the Nets stole my mini Sly idea. Ugh.
Oh yeah, yeah. Have you talked about that on the show before?
I think I have. Just
you
to recap.
Can you recap that and then we'll stop potting?
I took a meeting with someone who was in charge of Nets branding. He bought me and my friend a couple beers, and I had a proposal. He's under the auspices of he was going to hire me and my friend to help him do interesting things with the Nets identity.
And you're a cheap date. You're like 2 beers. He's like, make it 4. You're like,
and
right,
I ended up paying for the beer because I'm a big sucker. Okay, so we went through all these ideas, and I was like, well, in New Jersey at the time, it's like, you have Sly the Fox. He's a really cool mascot. You should make mini Sly, sort of, like the Austin Powers tradition, and have it promoted to kids. And he was just like, yeah, I don't think they're really going to run with that, but thanks for the idea. It took them 2 weeks. And there was mini Sly. And he never called us again. And I'm a big sucker. I have other examples throughout my life where I've done things like this.
That's a good one, though.
Yeah.
I mean, and you might not know this, but it's time to come clean.
Finally.
When you became a full-time cookie, you were actually supposed to be Mini Jordo.
Oi! In the sin bin, matey. Here's me, not 2 hot dogs in my basement. Hello.
I'm on vacation.
Sorry, mates. I'm on vacation. I love Jordo. I love him to death, and everyone. He's doing great. He's doing great.
No, this is Mini Jordan Originalism.
It is how the founders of cookies imagined the pod.
The framers of the perfect pod.
That's right.
Cookies.
Cookies.